So you did ask for this, but I don't know that you're actually going to like it.
Uh-oh. That's pretty great.
Do you like it?
Well, I don't know. That face sculpt looks a little like Matthew McConaughey.
People want for expressions on the faces.
Yeah.
And then they do it and then they're like, oh, well, I don't like it.
It
makes it harder. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't hate it. It is weird that he's smiling.
Well, it's what he when he walks in.
Yeah. But I guess could you take this head off and put the other head on? Oh my God, the alligator though. He just does look like a politician. I didn't realize that that's what he was called, that he was President Loki. I mean, I want anything that looks like Tom Hiddleston. So
I just weirdly like the other one where he's in the like time bureau.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I like the straps.
Yeah. It's like a holster. Yeah, me too.
It'll holster a lot of things. Hello, everybody. I am Will.
And I'm Kristen.
And this is So I'm Watching Hawkeye, Season 1, Episode 3, Echoes on Disney+. I don't know why I clarified that, but... Why was it called Echoes? Was it just a hearing?
Probably. Yeah, well, there's also, like, the echoes of his past are still impacting him.
The thinker.
Yeah, as are the echoes of Echo's past. Maya. I guess spoiler alert. I've heard that that's her name. She's a thing.
Maya?
The deaf lady.
Yeah.
Her name's Echo.
Oh.
Yeah.
You did not make that clear.
Sorry.
I am still absolutely loving this show. I don't know. I love it. I care about Maya. I don't know why, but I do. That little montage of her as a child completely worked for me.
Yeah. Learning how to fight. Well, it was in a way that I'm going to also say spoiler because it's not confirmed, but it felt very like the flashback scenes of Matt Murdock from the Daredevil show, where he was learning to do like karate and fight and like hone his, blindness and everything. And people think that the guy in the suit that pinches her cheek is Kingpin, Wilson Fisk. So I'm excited about that.
Most importantly,
too.
We think it's Vincent D'Onofrio.
I do think it is Vincent D'Onofrio.
I would actually. So there was
Vincent D'Onofrio, since Daredevil got canceled, has been like, you tell me when to show up and I will be there to play him.
Really? Okay.
Forever. There's
been a lot of conversation about the Netflix Marvel shows about like keeping them or rebooting them or like all this blah, blah, blah. And it appears that they're just sort of cherry picking things, which I kind of don't hate.
No, I don't hate it either. A couple of them are getting either rebooted or brought back to life because there has been like a ton of conversation about Daredevil coming back.
Well, and
Charlie Cox is going to be in
spoiler alert.
Stuff.
He is in
but
Spider-Man.
The other one that they're going to do is The Punisher. That's like all but confirmed at this point, is that they're bringing back The Punisher. And I'm like, cool, but like also that's the thing with
John.
Yeah. And that's the thing for me is I'm like, okay, you can redo these things and bring them to Disney Plus, but you must keep the actors.
I need Charlie. Yeah. I need John.
Deborah.
I need Vincent. I need Deborah.
Yeah. Also Kristen Ritter.
I could go either way. Yeah. I could see, and I really liked season 1.
Yeah.
I think season 2 and 3, I never actually finished season 3, but I could go either way, but the 4 of them.
Yeah. It's the Daredevil people I think were the best cast for me. It's the best for me.
And I think they would fit in really well.
Yeah.
So I desperately want them back. And I don't know, I was really into Fisk and Vanessa.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, this was totally working for me. Because it's the kind of thing that I feel like I would complain about on another show where I'd be like, oh my God, we don't care about this. And it's very obvious. Like it's very sort of like, oh, let me guess, she's going after this guy because he killed her family. Yeah. And but for whatever reason, it's working. I guess the charm of the rest of the show. I like I hate to call it a gimmick, but
no, I mean, it's like a gimmick for
that
TV.
She's deaf.
Yeah, she's deaf. And then also Hawkeye, his hearing aid is like malfunctioning and then she steps on it. So he spends a portion of the show also mostly deaf.
And it was really sweet.
Yeah.
Like
The phone call with Nathaniel.
We love a strong man
my
who's
God.
like kind of wounded, who needs like
Hey, look, this is like
who needs a woman to come in and
this is really, really making me love Jeremy Renner's Hawkeye in a way that like I already felt fine about him, but this is like really making me like him a lot. And I cannot stress enough.
He's more tender than I ever would have.
His family is very involved. And this goes into the next thing I was going to say, which is I cannot stress enough how glad I am that there is zero sexual tension between the two of them. They are acting it appropriately.
Well,
because she could have
she's a daughter.
She could have sexual tension with a stick on the ground. She's ridiculous.
It's a bit much, but
but I love that it's not falling into that trope that he's looking at her as a daughter and she's looking at him as like a mentor, and that it's just a very sweet, not even a friendship because he kind of can't stand her still. But it's very nice, and I love it. It's really cute.
I've gotten to a place, I don't have any personal ties to this, but I've started to feel passionate about more disabled characters, in particular, like the deaf. Like, I don't know why we don't learn ASL.
Yeah, I would love to.
Like, we should be taught that in elementary school. And like, I know it's different because ASL is American Sign Language, so I know sign language is different. And
I think you can get by in like American Sign Language versus British Sign Language versus whatever.
Not to go all Book of Revelation on us, but I think we should have a universal.
A universal language? Probably. Well, we are really forcing it to be English, so.
And representation, as someone who actively has gotten to a place where I prefer, like, I put on captions unless it's comedy, like unless it's like stand-up comedy.
Yeah,
I watch it with captions
because you do at the stand-up comedy, you do get the punchline ruined sometimes.
You think I'm bad with names now? Imagine me without captions. The only reason why I know anybody's name is because I look at it while they say it. Yeah. Her father. I recognized him. I don't remember him.
Okay, his name is Zahn McLaren, maybe. He was in Westworld. He was the Native American.
He's the one that's not Lou Diamond Phillips.
Correct. Yes, they do have similar faces.
Similar vibes.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's him. And he's the one that was at the end of season 2, they were like going through that pocket in the Old West world.
I remember.
Yeah. And then he was most recently on Reservation Dogs, where he played a really weird, fun character. He was like the cop, but he was also really like still really in the Native American like spirituality of it and everything. It was very funny.
But no, I mean, he was in less than 5 minutes of the show, but it was a big, it had a big impact. And this actress that plays Maya, she's very stoic, but it's effective. I don't know. It's really, it's all really working for me. And then was it Kazi, his name?
Yeah. His acting name is Fra Fee. Yeah.
Is he related to her?
I think he's the little boy that was fighting with her in the dojo at the beginning.
He seems like her right hand in this. Like,
I think if anything, they might be cousins, but I don't think they're brother and sister.
But the action, very good action, easy to follow, creative. That car chase really worked for me. Yeah. Really worked for me.
The car chase worked for me the best, but I also really, really liked when they were having the fight scene inside the KB toys. I thought that was really good as well. The way that they were like, they weren't fighting together because it took her longer to get loose, but then he also made that shot from across the room and he hit Kazi in the face and then he snapped the duct tape that was holding her together. I mean, that was wild. That's so he's really good at archery. Did you guys know? It's amazing.
Well, that was another part of it. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about me that is not fazed by guns, but every other weapon, I'm like, this is horrific. Yeah. Like all of the arrows whizzing around and people get shot.
Yeah, people were getting shot with arrows. Yeah.
But there's something about it. It reminds me of the old Nick Swartzen bit where he's like, I never want to get stabbed. Yeah. He's like, if you get shot, you're kind of like, huh, what? Oh man, I think I was shot. But he's like, other weapons, you're too present the entire time.
Like it's, well, first, the thing about the reason why arrows are the worst is because you can do it from far away, but it is still it is a projectile, but it's so fat. The arrows are like, I mean, it's not like the arrows in Lord of the Rings, which are like the size of silver dollars.
You guys pointed that out this viewing. I had never noticed that it's like dowel rods going into these people.
The arrows, the orc arrows that kill Boromir are like the size of silver dollars. It's ridiculous. And so, but there is something that's still that's like far away but very personal about arrows, because you can still see it. When you get shot with a bullet, you can't see it sticking out of you. Usually, I hope.
What kind of bullets you? But yeah, no, it was kind of like,
yeah.
Well, and it feels medieval in a way that I'm like, Hawkeye.
Yeah, you're like, come on, man.
21st century.
Clint, please.
But I mean, I'm the same way with swords. I'm like, huh. But no, that was fun. And then I loved all the trick arrows and stuff and the payoff. The show is is very good with setup payoff. And I think that's the comedy screwball that's like in its DNA.
Yeah.
Because again, their comedic chemistry, the thing when they finally get on the subway talking about taking Pizza Dog for a walk.
Oh my God. Well, because also that's the other thing is this whole episode is like keeps telling him that they need to communicate better. And so then finally she's like, oh my God, we need to take the dog for a walk. And he says, you're right. And she keeps talking about the dog. And then he says, you called yourself the best archer in the world. And then she's so pleased.
It was like one of the best shots.
Yeah. And she's like so into it. And then he's like, we should take the dog for a walk. He's been cooped up all day. They just say the exact same thing. It's very cute.
Well, I mean, it does go to show how they are on the same page, but not 100%.
Yeah. They are very similar, but they're not 100% together.
Yeah, I just wrote down a note. This goes back to the like when Maya first came down and was talking to them, that I also really liked the tension that the use of sign language imbued into the scene, because you were having to wait for the translation, and also they were cutting between perspectives, so sometimes it was weirdly silent.
Yeah.
And there was just sort of like this palpitation. It was really good.
It was very similar to like the only one I can think of right now is Outlander, where like especially at the beginning, whenever the Scottish characters are speaking Gaelic, there's no subtitles because you're supposed to be with Claire, not understanding what they're saying. And so you don't know what they're saying for like a long time. And that was kind of what it was, because it was like, we don't necessarily see her sign the stuff, but we do get the subtitles, but only sometimes, because it felt like there were parts of the conversation that we weren't privy
captioned
to. And I love that Clint does not fully know sign language.
Oh boy. More cookie, please. Thank you.
That he's like trying and he's teaching the kids, but he's like not there yet. And so he was like, more cookies, please. Very funny.
I didn't fully get that. I thought I had missed something, but I guess.
No, yeah. I think it was either that or it was like a ploy to like get out of like not knowing sign language. But I think he's still learning.
Yeah. Well, because it seemed like, Maya said that he's relying too much on
the hearing aid.
Which, I mean, I understand, but also.
So the thing for me, I guess, though, is that he's not fully deaf. He's just hard of hearing.
He's deaf enough.
He is deaf enough. If you also want to watch an excellent movie about deafness, I suggest watching, oh God, what's it called? The Riz Ahmed movie. Oh my God, it was so good. And now the title of it just went.
Sound of Silence.
Sound of Metal.
Sound of Metal.
Sound of Metal. So good. Very, very good.
Well, I was gonna say actually that the TV show The Magicians did.
Yeah, also that.
Marley Matlin is like a recurring character on the show.
Yeah.
And they do entire sections of the show. Like I think there's like a 15-minute segment in the middle of one episode that is entirely silent with ASL.
And there's another one, Only Murders in the Building just did one as well, where it's mostly silent. And then I haven't seen it yet, but there was a movie that came out this year on Apple TV called Coda and Marley Matlin is in that as well. And it's about, that stands for Child of Deaf Adults. And so it's about their daughter, but who is hearing, but they're in it. It seemed very cool.
So, it ended with they're in
Eleanor's apartment.
Looking for
the penthouse. Yeah. And then Kate got locked out of this Bishop security, one section of the Bishop security. And then Jack is holding Clint at Ronin sword point. And I don't think that's going to end up great for Jack. So...
out of clarity, in case you're only watching us and not the show, which some people do.
Oh no, you guys should really be watching the shows.
Ronan killed Maya's
father
and crew because they're criminals.
Yep.
So, turns out that's not as we all like to be like, someone should do something about this, and it turns out that's trickier, easier said than done.
And as Kate mentions, that's why you don't get involved in organized crime. And also she has pinged that Ronan is someone close to Clint.
Mm-hmm.
And he's trying to protect them. But it really is. And oh my God, actually, I'm so glad that we kept going because I forgot that actually my favorite part is when he was telling Maya that Ronan is dead. And and the Black Widow killed him. And I was just like, because that's kind of true. Because like he stopped being the Ronin when she came to find him. And then, you know, she died and then he was there when it happened. And I'm just like, yeah, it was very good. It was good writing.
Well, because he remembered that scene, he went off the cliff too. So it's like, I liked it. I like that we're doing this.
Me too.
A lot.
Yeah.
So.
Me too, a lot.
Okay, well, that's halfway. We got 3 more.
Yep. Doesn't feel like enough. It never feels like never enough.
Never enough. Never.
All right, well, we'll be back next week.
Bye.
Yeah.
Oh, no. If I let go of both of them.
It's just going to fall down.